Hi friends, it's Miss Simpson and it is time for Science Today. Okay, so before we get started talking about seasons, I want to give you a little bit of background knowledge on some science terms that you need to know. So I want to talk to you first about the Earth. So let me draw the Earth real quick. So this is just my rough sketch of the Earth. Okay, so this is our Earth. Our Earth is a little tilted on its axis, and the axis goes straight through the Earth. It is a little tilted. Okay, the Earth is constantly rotating. So I'm going to draw an arrow like this, just to show you that the Earth is constantly rotating on its axis. So I want you to imagine a ball tilted to the side and it's constantly rotating. It is constantly moving. Our Earth takes 24 hours to rotate on its axis. So think of that ball and think of it moving. So I'm just going to use my mouse real quick. So here's our Earth and it's constantly moving. It's tilted a little bit and it's constantly moving. One rotation takes 24 hours, and that's how we get our day. A day takes 24 hours. And so it's constantly rotating like this. Now, let's talk about the sun. So the sun is right here. It is the center. And the Earth revolves, and I'm going to draw it like this because I don't have enough room. The Earth revolves around the sun. So that takes 365 days. And if you remember from time and math, 365 days equals 1 year. So I have this rotating, this is my Earth. I have this rotating Earth. It is tilted on its axis and it takes 24 hours to do that. But while it's rotating, it is also revolving around the sun. And it takes 365 days for our Earth to get all the way around the sun. So that's something you need to remember. Our Earth is on its axis and it's tilted and it rotates. That takes 24 hours. And as it's rotating, it revolves around the sun, and that takes 365 days. Okay, so now that you know those vocabulary terms, let's go ahead and talk about our seasons. Okay, so let's talk about the seasons. So what causes seasons? And what I mean by seasons is winter, spring, summer, and fall. So the Earth moves through an orbit or a path around the sun. And that was that circle, big circle around the sun. So it's moving, it's orbiting the sun. Revolving means to move in a path around another object. It takes 1 year for the Earth to revolve around the sun. This orbit, or that big circle that it takes, is in the shape of an ellipse. This ellipse is a circle that is flattened and slightly stretched out into an oval shape. So the big things you need to remember is the Earth rotates on its path, which is called the orbit. It is revolving around the sun. So we're constantly moving in a circle, we're rotating, and we're revolving around the sun. How long does it take for us to rotate? One Earth rotation, 24 hours. How long does it take us to revolve all the way around the sun on our orbit? That's the path. 365 days. You're right, 1 year. So the Earth's axis is tilted 23 and a half degrees compared to its path. So it's tilted a little bit. So because it's tilted, the sun, its rays strike the Earth's surface at a different angle at different times of the year. Earth's tilt on the axis actually causes the Earth's seasons to change. So let's look at our anchor chart real quick. So if you're looking, Earth is tilted a little bit. So think, the Earth rays are coming right down here onto the sun, or onto the Earth. I mean, the sun's rays are coming onto it. But when it's going on the other side, or on this side, it's getting more sun at different angles. Since it's not straight up and down, it's getting more or less sun as it goes around the sun, as it revolves around the sun, and as it rotates on its axis. So us going, say the Earth is over here, it would only get sun on the bottom part. If the Earth is over here, it would only get sun on a little portion of the side. So that is what causes our seasons, is the amount of sun that we are getting, depending on where we are in our orbit. Okay, back to our little PowerPoint presentation. I thought that was pretty cool learning that. So let's talk about our hemisphere. The equator is an imaginary line that circles Earth halfway between the North and the South Pole. So basically, it's a line that splits our Earth in half. So right here, right down the center is the equator. It divides our northern hemisphere and our southern hemisphere. So if you look up here, the northern part is like where we are. We're in the northern hemisphere because we're right here in Texas. And the southern hemisphere. The sun also changes position in the sky during the day. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west. I'm sure you've heard that a million times. Rises in the east, sets in the west. It also gradually changes positions over the course of the year, and it causes the seasons. So all in all, Earth revolves around the sun once a year. Because Earth is tilted on its axis, each hemisphere leans towards the sun in the summer and away from the sun in the winter. The sun appears to rise higher in the sky in the summer than it does in winter, and daylight is longer in the summer than it is in the winter. Okay, so now that you know how the Earth moves in a year and in a day, remember Earth rotates. I want you to picture my mouse rotating. Earth rotates and it revolves around the sun. So as it's moving, it is revolving. Okay, so let's talk about our day and our night cycle. So Earth and all of the other planets in our solar system, they orbit around the sun. And I'm sure that you have seen our solar system or a picture of our solar system before. They are all moving around the Earth or the sun. The sun is the center and it orbits. That's the path an object takes. So as the planets orbit, they're also rotating. So imagine I want you to stand up right now, and I want you to start turning in a circle. Just like this, turn in a circle. Now, whatever is in front of you, maybe your desk or your chair. I'm going to do my chair. But as I'm turning in a circle, I'm also moving around my chair. So my chair would be the sun, and I'm revolving around the sun, and I am Earth, and I'm rotating on my axis. So again, I want you to stand up, and I want you to turn in a circle. As you're turning in a circle, I want you to walk around the table in front of you as turning in a circle. Pretend you're the Earth. That's what you're doing. And whatever is in the center of it is your sun. So an axis, remember, it's just that made up line through the middle of our Earth. And ours goes through the North and the South Pole. So let's talk about daytime. In the morning, the sun rises and it shines in the east. This is when the part of Earth where you live faces the sun. During this time, it is daytime, and the other side of the Earth is experiencing nighttime. So look at this. This is just like the picture I showed you on our anchor chart. So when we are pointed towards the sun, we are experiencing day. When we're facing away from the sun, we experience nighttime. So we would see the sun in the east, and as we rotate around, the sun will look like it's moving to the west. So as we keep rotating, we are turning away from the sun. So that's where we see our sun set and when it goes down. So without receiving the sun's light, it's going to get dark and we begin nighttime. During this time, the other side of the earth is experiencing daytime. So just like this, pretend that this is our side of the earth. We're getting daytime, but this side is getting nighttime. So as we're moving in 24 hours a day, it's going to change. So notice right here, the sun, we're getting day. This is right here. And then when we turn over here, they're getting night. And as it turns and it rotates on its axis, that will change. That's why we see our sun moving. So if the sun shines and it rises in the east, as the earth turns, the sun gets higher and higher in the sky. So it starts in the east and it gets higher and higher in the sky. The sun is its highest at noon or around lunchtime, 12 o'clock. And as the earth continues to rotate, the sun seems to move as it sets in the west. So rises in the east and it sets in the west. As the earth is rotating, the sun's place in the sky actually does change. So as a result, the sun's rays hit earth differently throughout different times of the day. And that is what makes our shadows. So the earth, again, the sun rays hit earth in a different way, and that's what gets our shadows. So in the early morning, the sun is low in the sky, so the shadows are really long. Then around noon, the sun is high in the sky, and the shadows are pretty short. So we're looking at this right here. So the sun is right here, kind of lower in the sky. We're getting a long shadow. As it comes into the middle of our sky, it is a short shadow. And then when it's low in the sky in the west in late afternoon, the shadows are long again, but in the opposite direction. All right, that appears to be all of our PowerPoint. All right, so today for your assignment, you are going to have a little quiz over the vocabulary words that I just taught you. So rotate, shadow, sun, all of those things. I'm going to post this PowerPoint right down below. So if you ever forget what one of the vocabulary words are, you can just go check out this PowerPoint and see if it'll help you refresh your memory. So just answer the questions on the little vocabulary quiz below and turn it in. All right, you guys, I love y'all so much and I hope you have a great day. Bye.